like listening to music, dancing. This place is jammed with human beings. Cicero, though some people pronounce him as Cicero, but in Latin we pronounce him as Cicero. He said, simple minds can never sit down to read, neither write. Africans have been blamed greatly for never taking time to read or write. With that in mind, I never expected a big populace to be inside this hall. Because the African, if I'm to make a fallacy, a big generalization, the African reading and writing are like a reverend father finding a prostitute on the way, are two big enemies. I want to thank you that you're not that reverend father who has met a prostitute on the way. You at least have come around to listen and hear what the great writers and readers are to tell us. I'm bringing you greetings from the Vice Chancellor. He's extremely busy, given that we are moving towards the last month for us to celebrate 100 years of Makerere. 100 years of writing and reading. What I see, many of you are young men and women. And many of you are coming from my college, College of Education and External Studies, meaning that you are teachers. I'm a product of an interesting educational system. I had all my education in a Roman Catholic seminary, very close to Kenya, at a place called Nagongera Seminary. So I went for my primary, and O-level. And by God's grace, I was lucky to learn Jopadola. I'm a Muganda myself, but I speak Jopadola. Among the very few Baganda, very few. Now, what does that mean to reading and writing? Meaning that I can read Luo comfortably, and I can also read Luganda comfortably. But that's not important. The important thing is that in the seminary, there was a culture, an imperative that everyone had to read no less than 10 African series per term. So by the close of the year, Singugi, Wafiongo's books, Chinua Achebe, all those things you had read them. But today, if I asked many younger men and women at campus, randomly, have you ever heard of an animal called the river between? They will say, I think it is in Katanga. If you ask them, have you ever heard of an animal called Lion and the Jewel? They say, in Maction Falls. A book like Sons and Lovers by, people are scared that I might ask them that, who wrote Sons and Lovers? H. Lawrence. A Man for All Seasons. Nothing. William Shakespeare books and plays. They've never heard of those. King Lear, Henry VII, nothing. Juliet, Romeo and Juliet, they've never heard of that. And interestingly, some of them are literature teachers. So, when students came to me, they wanted to organize a conference on African leaders was very happy. I was extremely happy. Having come from a background where I was always forced to read and read. And no wonder I'm a professor. By the way, there are very few professors at Makerere. In your college of education, I'm the only professor of philosophy of education. And yet I'm an old man. When you look at the young lecturers, they are lecturers, seniors, not professors. Meaning that as the caliber of those who used to read and write are long gone. We are on the exit end, the grave of our exit. So when students came to me, I was very happy. It means there is some light at the tunnel. There is something worth thinking about. Because many of us Africans dread reading. Now, the moment you dread reading, even writing becomes a problem. If I asked many of you who have boyfriends and girlfriends, have you ever written a letter to them? A romantic letter, have you ever written one? You send funny messages with emojis. You want to tell the guy or the woman that you love her, you send an emoji. Meaning that many of you, young men and women, are going to end up with partners who are not worth you. Because once you can't write, you can't read, even you cannot tell someone what is on your heart. Because writers shed their tears on paper. So you stand in front of that person, you want to express what you want to tell them, but cannot even mention the beautiful words. Ngugi wa Thiong'o brings in river between Wayaki telling Muthoni how much love is flowing in the river and how much love is shown at the horizon of the heavens. And now, once these young men and women cannot read and write, it means critical thinking and analysis is not there. Someone made an interesting observation about young men in their homes. And it falls back on the issue of reading and writing and lack of critical thinking. That many of them, when they come from work, they are not on phone. When they go to the bedroom, they cannot even beg the food for the elders. They just grab because they don't have words to beg for this food. And at the end of the day, we are just lucky that we are not getting cases of rape in marriage. And the reason is, you can't talk. When a lady stands in front of a gentleman with due respect, she cannot tell the man what she wants to say. Even the man is like that because we can't read. But us, I quote about any books. I remember when I was getting my sweetheart, who is cooking for me some talk at home. I first of all went and read Romeo and Juliet. Then picked other books. By the time I'm through, my CV has gone through. So back to business, I want to thank you all for coming. I want to encourage you that some of us made some very fundamental mistakes. If by your age I'd sat down to write some novel, by now I would be making a lot of money. Knowing that Ngugi wa Thiong'o wrote his first novel, masterpiece, The River Between, from Northcote Hall. Kukurubadiri wrote it from up there. Now you as young men and women, what have you written? What you have written is shouting from morning to morning, way, and so forth. At the end of the day, you waste a lot of man hours a lot of your time, and you leave the university very poor. You have a lot of, for example, if I was one of you, I'm sorry I'm taking a lot of time, but if I was one of you, if you wrote a novel on the death of the student who died from here, who was murdered by others, close to darkness in a hall of residence. The other one was darkness at what? At noon. For you, darkness in a hall of residence. And you cite cases of tear gas, cases of students who have been raped in the halls of residence. Everyone who has gone through university education would wish to read such a book. But we don't want to think. We don't want to think. And because we don't want to think, we cannot write anything. And we cannot write because we don't read. Plato, the great philosopher, said, in order to become a great philosopher or writer, you have to cling on the soldiers of great men and women. So in order for you to write, you have to read what other great men and women have written. But I found it with many younger men and women. I have children myself. They don't want to read, so they cannot write. And for me, I'm a very funny character. As I told you, I speak Luganda and Jopadora. My children speak Luganda. I never accept any message from them written in English. I insist. They write to me in their mother tongue, demanding for pocket money. When someone comes and says, Dad, thanks for tuition, I say, no, go and put it in writing. And I mark. If the language is not romantic and sweet for me as your father, I tell you to go back and write. And in the end, they have learned how to write very good things. I'm very sure one of my boys in the future, when he will be getting a young lady to marry, he will be able to write a beautiful letter. Like those letters we wrote for their mothers. Recently, I chanced to get one of the letters I wrote for their mother in 1998. And I marveled at what I'd written. But you men of you, what do you write? Nothing. So I'm encouraging you to please read, write, and study. Study. Diversify what you read and write. And you see, I want to use myself as an example. I heard someone say that someone had a heavy CV. But many of us professors, without bragging in Makerere, we have rich CVs. For example, me, I did political science, economics, BA social sciences, 1987 to 1990, here at Makerere. After that, I went to the seminary, Katigondo, to do another Bachelor of Philosophy. So that is the second degree. BA social sciences, economics, political science, and then Bachelor of what? Philosophy. Then I also did a diploma in philosophy and religious studies from Urbaniana, Italy. They chased me away from the seminary. I came back, did a diploma in education, teaching economics and the RS. Picking economics from my first degree, RS from my second degree. After the diploma, I did a master's, MA Economic Policy and Planning. From here, Cobham, I did MA Economic Policy and Planning. Bad luck, after that master's, I never got a job to work as an economist. They gave me a job in education, teaching assistant. There they wanted me to do another master's in education. So I did a master's in philosophy of education based on my second degree. After that master's in education, I did a PhD in education. After a PhD in education, I felt that I'd done all my papers in Uganda. I went to Sweden, did an international diploma in child rights, school and class management. After that diploma, I got a scholarship to go to China, Inner Mongolia, to do another diploma in education. came back. I just felt that I should go back and I do another diploma. I went back to Sweden, did another diploma in school management. But in all those, I was getting a chance to read and write, as well as make money. I want to end with this. We complain that we are poor. We complain that we do not know. And the reason is because we do not want to know. There is a lot for us to make money as young men and women, in your case. When I was a teacher, I used to write pamphlets, very many of them, and sell them. Of course, those outlived my level at that time, but I benefited from them. So please, young men, read, write, and by God's grace, you will earn all your life from your writings. I will excuse myself. I won't stay long. The reason is, it's not because I'm disrespecting you when I move out. I'm just coming back from a disaster. 3 months ago, I got a stroke when I just came in office. The office of the principal is not a small one. I just come in, and I found myself from the VC's office. I'd gone to the VC and the VC's office. That's what I could remember. But I found myself in Zambia Hospital in ICU. The hand was gone, the mouth was gone, the legs were gone. So when I stay for long, I sit for long, things may not go very well. But when I was called by the students, I said, sure, I'll come around. The reason is, it's a very important conference. But as I told you in the beginning, Africans never respect reading. They can never respect a conference for readers because it's not in our blood. And probably the reason is because we grew up in oral tradition. Maybe our great-grandparents are the ones who created a problem for us, oral tradition. So we've taken up that. But I want you to break that terrible ice of people remaining in oral tradition. Please put down something in writing so that when someone Googles your name, they are able to see you. Like now, when I say I'm Professor Mwagamgaga Anton, you can verify what I've written, where I've written, and so forth. It would be very bad if you have ever gone to the university and they Google your name and the only source where they see you is Facebook. Facebook is pedestrian, everyone is on Facebook, on WhatsApp, but Google Scholar and so forth should be where you should be. So that you are quotable, they can quote you, not as a rapist, not as a sexual harasser, but someone who has written something. I want to wish you very good deliberations. You'll excuse me, after about 10 minutes I will move away because I don't want a disaster. Normally, I should have been off campus for the next 1 year because I got a stroke in April, and a very serious one. But as a principal, you cannot throw away a job like that. So what you have to do is to firefight, avoid certain situations. It's very good. You even have an afanda around, afanda war. Afanda from Tororo. Yoga. Internet. Orajiteach. Wasangala Guinean. He's very shocked that where does this Jomwa Inge Jopadola? I'm a product of. I wanted to prove to these people that I do not only speak Luganda, but I also speak Jopadola. I want to welcome you all and wish you very nice deliberations. And please don't get discouraged. Even if in your conference you have one person, it is okay. Africans never read and they'll never value anything which has to do with readers. But you have to start. As I told you, I gave you a very good example. In my home, my children, when they get their reports, they have to write for me a paragraph on what is in the report, and even the school fees they write. And when I give you school fees, you have to write back thanking me in Luganda. Because there is something, dear young people, you are missing out. Ngugi wa Thiong'o would write in Kikuyu. Translate to what? To English. So please write for us beautiful stories in Kichiga, in Jopadola, in what? Beautiful stories. And then later on we do what? We translate. And then you make money, but at the same time inform people. You shed your tears on paper. So thank you very much. God bless you. I wish you very, very beautiful deliberations. Once again, I'm Professor Mwagamgaga, the Principal, College of Education and External Studies.
Thank you very much, Professor. I would like to thank, I am so privileged. I've seen my mentor here. I am filled with joy. But I want to thank our sponsors who made this happen. I want to thank High People. I believe all of you, you're on social media, you're on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, Snapchat, and other media platforms. Kindly follow them, because the only way to know what is happening into the world, you have to read, like I've said. Search about High People, search about Met Media. You can even invite them on your weddings, your graduations. I want to thank Judy Color Solutions. I want to thank Makerere University for hosting us. I mean, it's not easy. If you've been into events, it's not easy to be hosted. You have to pay, but we thank Makerere University, and we thank Rotary Club, Golobi. I want to thank National Culture Forum. There are very many sponsors here, but they really did something great. That's why you are here today. Shortly, I'll talk about one person, just in 1 minute. I and Madam Agatha, we went to High People, and I called him Doctor. He's my mentor. And I met Mr. Innocent. He doesn't talk too much. That's the fact. He doesn't talk too much. But he's filled with wisdom. He told me, honestly, me with reading, I am not so good at reading. Actually, I have started reading. There's a difference. But when he was talking, he said, I love reading, and I read a lot. And then, deep inside me, I was like, how can he read more than me? And then he said, if you want to know what is happening, you have to dig deep. So when I went back, I started thinking about it and gave it a thought, and I realized it's just a mindset. So you just think and say, like, I don't need to read. So what happens is you get lost. You don't know. If we are talking about politics, you just use propaganda. But I want to thank you, Mr. Innocent, for mentoring me, for being here, and also supporting us. And also, I want to thank you for your Level 1 project. You've been really doing something great. And I believe the young people who are out there, including me, we are really going to gain. Guys, don't forget to check out on your social media platforms.
Okay, thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you for introducing Mr. Innocent Kawoya. It's so good to always see your mentor seeing you doing something good. So please remember, we are on social media, on Twitter. Hashtag is ARC 2022. Okay, so inform your friends on Twitter that we are here and they are going to be missing something. Thank you very much, Mr. Professor Mugaga. You talked about writing something. Me recently, when I checked on Google, I saw myself on Facebook. So you are telling the real fact. So that has really inspired me. I need to do something. Remember, our theme is maximizing Africa's potential through digitalization. Now, right now we have, recently a friend of mine was telling me, please, I need a copy of Dead Manna. Where can I get it? On Amazon. I told him, my friend, you have to buy the hard copy. Yeah, we are a little bit still on the hard copy side, or should I say the analog, but slowly by slowly we are going to get to the advancement. But the advancement is digitalization, which is making sure that whatever content that you create, we have to put it out there to the world to get to know. And how will the world get to know? That is through technology and through the digital world. So at this moment, I'm going to be welcoming Miss Priscilla Akelo to come and tell us something. So let's welcome her to the stage.
As people come in, show them some love.
Hi. Am I loud? Can you guys hear me?
You can't hear you. You must be loud.
Yeah, I am. Okay, hi. Sad, what's wrong? Is everything okay? You guys don't look happy. So my name is Prisca Akerwa. I'm very excited. I am looking calm from the outside, but inside I'm dancing, like something is dancing inside of me because I'm seeing you guys, some smiling faces. Some are not smiling, I don't know why, but I hope at the end of the day, we get excited and, get impacted by what we are doing as Readers Africa. So I'm here to share our story. I was supposed to have my slides up, but we are a little bit not, the technology is not technologying. Yeah, so, I'm going to share our story as Readers Africa from where we started. Readers Africa is a baby to us. We are parents. We are the parents that nurtured this. And I can tell you this, it has not been an easy journey for us. We started this journey about 2 years ago when we were in lockdown. There was a lot of nothing to do among young people. There was a lot of sleep. There was a lot of, people being online, doing a lot of nothing. And here comes a book. Agatha, who is the senior mother of Readers Africa, came across a book. She read this book, and she felt really inspired. Before she could even finish the book, she felt really inspired by this book. And then she shared with a few of us who, some are here, some are not here, but yeah, those who are here can testify to this. When she shared the book, we were like, well, can we read as a group? Because this book seems to be very interesting. Then Agatha shared the book with us. We read the book, and we came up as a team to, to kind of impact other people's lives. So from there, we shared with other people. We grew from 7 to 11. You see how the family came about. So from 11, we have actually a guest who was part of the 7 people who traveled all the way from Kenya. He's in this building today. We are very excited to have you, Kaire Karega. I know you don't love your English name. He's a Pan-Africanist. But yeah, he was part of the family. And when we grew the family to 11, we realized we could actually have this impact other young people's lives. And we grew the family to a bigger family. I don't remember the numbers, but from 11, we grew bigger. And then from being just a family of 11 people, we broke down into different campuses, I mean, in different countries and different campuses within Uganda. And also, the idea was sold to young people in other countries, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Nigeria, and other countries. And then the dream started growing. We felt like this cannot just stop within us. There's so many, a lot of work out there people have put in writing that is ready to impact your life as long as you are ready to consume it. So we felt we needed to expand and get more and bigger. That's how we got to like expand and read other books. So the first book was Purpose-Driven Life. If you read the Purpose-Driven Life, it awakens you to a life of purpose in God. So that book was very inspirational to us. And I think until now we are holding on to something that is not easy, by the way, to hold on to. It's not easy to build something, to sell it to big minds like Mr. Innocent, who is our chief guest today. If it wasn't for that impact that book created in our lives, we couldn't have the confidence to stand strong to all the challenges that have come across. So from there, we have built a family across Africa. We may not have all of them here today, but this family is big. It's not small, you people, I'm telling you. God is very faithful. So we built, and we have been doing programs like book reviews. People do reading. People get to publish their works through us. We have a couple of books that we have helped our writers publish through the family, and now we have a baby of our own, Dead Manners. Mr. Professor was talking about documenting our African culture. I can tell you, if you open any page on that book, you are going to get a true definition of Africanism. We have different writers from across, we have different 50 writers from across Africa, and they have written their culture. I recently read one of the poems, which is on page 33, and it's a young man from Bugishu land. He wrote about the food and the culture. It awakens you to understand that there is a lot to explore in our African culture. And it's really amazing to see people's dreams come true, to see that someone can actually have their work published by not, having to struggle a lot. So guys, Africa, Readers Africa is a family to us, and it's our baby. I am going to be very specific on the people that have been part of this journey, because I know how much they have sacrificed to have this. I am very thankful to Agatha, Cohens, and Miss Scovia. Guys, Agatha is a woman and a half. So we are very few that have been very passionate about this dream. And this coming to life, it's like us speaking to the world. Our baby is speaking to the world. We have nurtured the baby. We gave the baby space to crawl. We gave the baby the space to take its first steps. This is our second edition of the African Readers Conference. The first edition was an e-version. But having it physical is not easy. It has not been easy. And for me, yesterday I was telling when I met our Kenyan guests, I was telling them, it's like our baby is now speaking to the world. We have given it a chance to have a voice, and this is the voice today. You sitting in this room today, we are making the baby speak, and it's very close to our hearts to have you guys here today. We cannot thank you enough for the sacrifices you've made. We don't know what you had to do today at this particular time in history, but because you made it here, we are very grateful, and we cannot thank you enough for everyone that has made it here. I want to, in a special way, thank our partners. I want to thank High People, guys. High People is like a father to us. High People is a father to us. So many things happening today, it's because they believed in us. When we walked to them, they gave us the space to show them what we could do, but also to believe in us, to believe in that dream, to believe that we can transform lives through reading, to believe that we can transform lives through the culture that we are planting today. But also, we cannot forget Makerere University for hosting us today. Getting an is very hard, like Elizabeth. It's extremely hard. But Makerere University embraced, just like how people embraced this dream, they embraced that, we can actually transform lives by disseminating the information to young people out there. And today, we are here because they gave us the space. We want to thank the National Cultural Forum, Rotary Club of Bugolobi, Met Media, thank you so much. Met Media is a partner also with High People, and Mr. Innocent was whole, he gave us his whole, I don't know, and he brought his entire team. They are here with us today. They're helping us with everything. We cannot thank them enough. And also, we want to thank UNESCO. We want to thank the Uganda chapter, the PLO Lumumba Uganda chapter. And yeah, I'm very grateful. I know we are a little bit not having the screens show, but tomorrow we're going to have a bigger event. Today we're going to launch our book. Please buy the book. Please buy the book. It's really interesting. You'll get to love it. Trust me. Thank you so much, and please have our next time here. We're excited to have you, and we can't wait to share much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Wow. Yes, High People, they are parents to us. Next on our agenda, we are going to have a performance. A minute. Guys, don't forget, our books are ready. You can grab a copy. It's good to read. Know about African literature. Know about the wisdom in the African setting. Today you may be in secondary, but tomorrow, still, you need Africa because it's where we come from. And it's our mother.
Okay, thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you very much, Miss Akelo. So at this moment, I would love to say that our dear professor has bought 4 copies of Dead Manners. Please, let's give a round of applause for that. Yeah, and thank you very much, sir. He has bought 1 for himself, 1 for the DVC, 1 for the VC, and 1 for the other principal of this. Yes? The Vice Chancellor. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Now, in a special moment, what I'm going to need us to do, if you know you participated in bringing this baby up, please come. We are officially going to hand over the book, the copy, to him. I see very many faces. Please, let's do it faster. He wants to go. If you participated in bringing this baby to life, please, let me see you. Let me see you. Yeah, please give them a round of applause. That's why we are here. They are the reason why we are here. I can see you're looking very smart.
We still have more copies available.
Actually, we have very many copies at only 30,000 shillings. You live here with your beautifully looking copy of Dead Manners. Then also we have other books, but today is a day for Dead Manners. Yeah. Okay, I've been advised that I'm going to say a word on behalf of us all. So, Mr. Mgaga, we thank you very much for honoring our event, our conference, and coming. You shared with us a lot of wisdom that surely I believe most of us will not live here the same. At least we shall try to do better than we have been. So you buying this copy means a lot because it motivates us to continue writing more and more. So on behalf of us all, I want to thank you and would love to wish you good reading of the book, and we pray that you share it with the rest of the family, and you also encourage them to continue reading like you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The ones I bought for the VC, my boss said, please you take them there. The reason is I do not need to advertise myself, but you still need to advertise yourselves to the bigger powers above. So please, after the conference, go to the 3 top dogs of the university. They won't bark at you. But you being writers, you know when I say top dogs, they matter. In terms of employability, scholarships, when you're coming for masters, and other things. I wish you the best of luck, young men and women. It's a big team. I've been interacting with Agatha. She's an iron lady. There are times I would think she would break down. And the reason is she almost was abandoned by your teachers of language. I told them to get to her, to give her their back. And I think they didn't. So I'm not a man who fears to say the truth. They didn't. So she single-handedly moved up and down on this. And you see, they being mature people, I couldn't force them. But that's Uganda. That's Uganda. But I said, for her sake, of course I didn't know all of you, let me come around and honor your occasion. By the way, for outsiders, a principal is a representative of top university management. The university is managed by principals. They are the big dogs around. Small as I am, I'm a big dog in the university, top management. It represents the vice chancellor and others around. I didn't want them to go away without reading this. So please take these books to them. And I'm also grateful. I'll read through and pray that you write more. You do what we never did when we were at your age. I remember me, I was in Northcote in 87, but most of my time in the evening I would go to Wandega to drink waraj. We used to call it koram. We'd drink waraj and do many other funny things. Of course, me, I wasn't very much misbehaved because even after that I went to the seminary. But because of the drinking which I'd learned here, they flushed me out. And now, maybe I would be a bishop now, but because of that, what I learned at Chikumichukati. So I pray you don't learn those funny things which could. There are times when I wish if I'd become a priest, things would be better. But then I remember it is waraj. And that's why by the way I don't drink. Somehow, after being discharged from the seminary, I stopped drinking completely. The beer. But I learned it where? Here. And the reason was redundancy in the evening. Some of our colleagues, for them in the evening, they would go being imported in the girls' rooms. But many of them are long dead because it's our time, 87, when AIDS became a very terrible thing. Now, for us who never died, we became terrible drunkards. Probably it is those side effects which have caught up with me now to even give me a stroke. But that all goes well, and you don't learn in the mistakes we made. There is a beautiful song by either Don Williams or Ken Rogers, Son. You don't have to fight to show that you're a man. Think Ken Rogers. So, you don't have to make the stupid mistakes we made. You just have to learn from the good things which we tell you. Because mistakes are for fools after being told. So in your free time, write, read. Write, read. To avoid being tempted by her and also you. To avoid, you see, the phone you people are obsessed with, WhatsApp, is the major cause of promiscuity among the young. Because as you are reading her message, she gets excited and photographs under there, sends you. You in turn photograph the bazooka, you send to her. So she begins imagining the world, whether it is a python or a cobra, and also you begin whether it is River Nile or Katonga, and by tomorrow you are finished. So please, and remember, but when you sit down to write, me when I was writing papers for professorship, at times I would even sleep at 3 o'clock in the night. Somehow, the more you write, the more you feel you should write. The more you don't write, the more our body organs, the faculties begin meandering. That's when, for us men, the gentleman begins singing the national anthem and then saluting like a policeman. And you'd wish that the salute should go in the football pitch of Madame. So please, try to be very careful so that you don't die young. AIDS is still rampant and other diseases are still what? Rampant. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, now the next segment we're going on, if you know that I told you you'll be part of our panelists, please stay here.
Thank you very much. I had someone asking me, what does Judy Color Solutions do? They deal in all kinds of gifts. If you want a gift for your birthday, for your wedding, for your brothers and cousins, they got you covered. You just have to, you can check even online, so they can sort you out.
Oh, please take our, let's take our seats. Let's take our seats, okay. So this next item that we're going to be going through is, these are some of the poets. Remember, Dead Manners is a poetry collection, is a collection of poems, over 50 poets from Africa, okay? Some are in Nigeria, South Africa, came together with the idea, Miss Angela and some of the other members of Readers Africa, and we thought, why can't we create something that can bring us together as Africans to be able to advocate or boost the reading and writing culture within us. So I'm going to, Elizabeth, should it be gender balance? They always say ladies first. But in heaven, of course, there is no that.
Of course, ladies first.
Okay. So we shall have a lady reading for us their piece of the poem. Then gentleman, then lady, then gentleman, until we are done. Then we shall be going through the segment of question and answer. You tell us what motivated you to write that piece of poem, or what don't you like about that poem? Or what do you like about it? So that we decide whether we want to buy it or we don't. Not so?
True.
Audience, not so?
Guys, are you there? Yeah. So let's start with a lady from here.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank each and everyone for attending today's first day of this magnificent conference. My name is Aloikin Opoloje Praise. I like to go by Aloikin. I wrote a piece under the section of religion, and it's titled Known to the Unknown. a little context before I actually read my piece. I am so inquisitive, and I have always had questions to do with religion and anything else, really. I'm not the kind of person you tell, take this route, and I go. I'll be like, but why? But how? But why not the other route? Why this particular one? So I've always sat down and looked at religion. But for context, I would love us to separate religion from spirituality. So my piece is entitled Known to the Unknown. I hope you enjoy it. Okay. We carry crosses to a Calvary we have never seen, from an Aden we can't trace. But I see pots behind Grandma's hat, and I see tubers grow when she prays to OI Candy. There is a church at the bend to the marketplace. They hold beads in their palm before a woman that looks sad and mumble. It is right. But when Grandma bends to the rock and spills some beer to the ground, she goes to hell. God of battle. Upon his name, kings and kingdoms are slain. That's why they call him great. To Grandma's God, twins are slain. Because they are a curse, Grandma's God is called barbaric. But who has the moral authority to tell others what to believe in? Isn't it all subjective? Whose opinion should we consider less valuable? Most complicated math equation for my grandma, moving from the known to the unknown. Thank you.
Wow, I think, okay, let me just give the next one.
Greetings to you all. My name is Asiku Francis, a poet of Uganda, not of Kenya, not of Zimbabwe. And greetings to you all, those who came from out. Before I read my piece, I would like to tell you a little bit about the piece. Amongst all the themes that were put here, I decided to go for poverty. Why poverty? I took this in the context of our place. I've a little bit wandered in the lands of Karamoja. And as I was moving there, I felt a bit touched by the way some people really live. The poverty seems to be so strange to everyone. And you will see even others going by eating anything which is a little bit green sometimes. So I felt that was really pain. I had to come up with this poem, which I have to read for you right away. The title is Shadow of Poverty. The day is densely dark, shades of life crowding and crawling, spitting words of innocence. Pale skins fall off her eyes painfully, dragged life by sea thongs for survival. The sea sees misery in her eyes, with the mouth open, ready to devour real red skin, prone to deficiency is her. On the twilight, night creatures invade her territory, invade with pleasure. The birds fly high and low without laws to flow her flawless kingdom, ready to feast on smell. Vultures stare with arrogance, waiting and warning and yawning, expecting a meal someday. Wind is bashful, shrinks to carry her shame to a better avenue, beggary she stings. She's a prey for the world to consume. High or null with naught, stands rubbing pride with hope to achieve. Trial consented conquest to remember, sailing through deep sea of poverty, spilling and spinning, high mensurate. Misery for misers to seemingly see that not a coquette as others think. Breath curls her chest and jacks her spirit, but still she warms with fungal food to rapture hunger hurriedly, shade of life. And so I got touched when I saw a little girl who was actually moving along the roads. She had not eaten. It was actually the thing which made me write this poem. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. I am Iwach Gracious Faith, Kingdom girl as well. I'm a poet. I love reading and learning. I also wrote, I'm one of the authors of Dead Manners. My piece is I Speak for All on page 22 and 23. I speak for all. The woman whose hope of feeling human has long gone, gone with the winds. The woman who is looked at as a childbearing machine, in whose job description there is no rest, and her plea for a minute's rest is followed by a blow to her breaking back. I speak for the woman whose quest for knowledge is a threat to the governing body in the home, the woman whose dry lips is her only identity, the one verbally and physically brutalized because of her gender. This is the woman I speak for. I speak for the man whose rib has considered him inferior because he is not educated and rich enough, and therefore must suffer torment and humiliation. The woman who has become the workplace sacrificial lamb can't get the position because he is a man. I speak for the man roughly victimized and abused, systematically abused and made a matter of marriage by misused gender-biased laws made for protection of women. Women with sick, twisted ideas of revenge for what happened in the past under the umbrella that men want to control us. I speak for the man who, in the conversation of gender equality, is forgotten. This is the man I speak for. What message are we sending to the innocent young girl who is begotten of a feminist mother, and the only advice she's given is that men are trash? What of that innocent young boy growing up already branded as an enemy to the other gender? Wouldn't society be a better place having each other as an ally other than a sworn enemy? Instead of belittling men who have been victims of the same society that victimized women, why not work with him to fix society? Should we have a world where the oppressed fight to become the oppressor they are fighting?
Hi, my name is Kairo Karega. I am an author from Kenya. I wrote Deceitful Engagements. This is the poem I'm going to read for you from page 58 and 59. I think the time I had written about it, it's a poem about justice. It was drawn from a real-life occurrence that happened in 2017 during the Kenya general elections, just after the results were announced. And as I don't know if you know, but results announcement in Kenya is not something to be, it's not a very happy event, because some people are happy, some people are sad about it, some people are angry about it. And let's hear what happened. Ali stood at the staircase looking out. His eyes were up and about. Beneath there was a crowd, but the silence was too loud. Is this what our forefathers fought for? The freedom we swore to protect and fight for, but now it has become a war. A war against the people, to make them feeble. Aren't we all equal? But we're in the mercy of the evil. Ali's story is no different. A child stripped off of his parents, deceitful engagements, but the kings sit pretty in their tents. Deceitful engagements by detectives, deceitful promises by electives, campaign incentives, but the regime is still repressive. Who shall come to Ali's aid? The detectives have already been paid. All has been done and said. but we'll still want them to be our heads. Justice won't come with us being silent. Justice won't come from Parliament. If we want fair and equal treatment, we have to stand up and be counted. Freedom is coming tomorrow. No longer will there be weeping and sorrow. Justice will be served. The path of truth will follow. Ali is one of the children who lost their parents due to political, I don't know what to say, but there was some killings that happened from stray bullets based of people protesting after the election results and never got justice about what happened. And we hope that one day maybe Ali will get justice.
Thank you very much.
My name is Oniogo Adungo, in brackets David. I prefer to be called Adungo Oniogo. I'm a poet. I go by the name Dev Shine. And I think writing this piece on identity, it was more of a reflection on who I am, who I am yet to be, and who I think I have not discovered I am. I think the questions will come in on why I wrote this piece. Unlike many poets, I love my pieces very short. And this is only one page. Don't worry, it's very short. It's called Discovery Journey. Many, our stories of identity, ownership, and our self-ship. Our stories of the tough calls and teary choices. Our stories of self-choice and zero compromise. The path of the great loss and self-discovery, no I, and now faded. Many are broken, but still believe. Many are broken again, but even greater believers. A life a muse for a story to be heard. A journey, a lesson for many to draw from. An experience golden for many to share in. The path of finding ourselves from within out, not out within. The path of self-love to the brim, then pour out to others. We are a product of love. We give when we are full and overflowing, lest we have nothing to give. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've been told we have shirts in the building. So we have blue, sky blue, and white. So just at the table outside there, you can grab yourself one.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, another round of applause to our poets and writers. Okay, so a poet is a writer, of course, because you have to think before you write. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm so happy to having listened to especially you. Okay, it is so wonderful to see a young person who is so bold to be able to come here and be able to do something that we, some of us, the adults, fear to do. Like I was interacting with someone and someone said, man, I fear to be on stage. But if a young boy can be on stage or a young girl can be on stage, how about you who is like 30? Okay? So thank you very much for being so bold, and I hope you spread that to your younger siblings as well. Okay, so now we're going to the questions and answers. I have my own questions, and my questions are hard. But I would love if there is any member from the audience who would love to particularly point out to a poet here who has maybe something, or their poem has really struck you, or there is something that you want to say about their poem that maybe you can put out and they can answer back. So anyone? Oh, there's someone there, Elizabeth.
We want a lot of questions.
A poet is saying, please go slow on the bombing. Don't bomb them so much. You may leave them staggering.
Hi, my name is Mohan. Originally, I'm from Kenya, but I reside in Uganda. I've been here for a minute, slightly more than a year. I'm glad to have had all the aspects they have covered, ranging from poverty. She's talked about religion, spirituality. They're not similar. I can't remember what she talked about, but I got a bit of masculinity and that. And then he talked about the political, I'll say, climate or what happens around our election times. And then he's also talked about what he talked about. But I'll measure on what she talked about. And I'm a bit agnostic with the whole idea of faith, the whole idea of God, the whole idea of religion, especially the white man God. And so in the African rebirth and us trying to decolonize the whole philosophies, the whole ideals that were brought to us by the white man, I'm just curious to know, what is it that you found in the soul searching that you wanting to know the African spirituality? What is it that you found about the African God, and what is it that you've realized about this white man God that was brought to us? My question is directed to her.
Thank you so much. I think where I started questioning everything is dated back to my history classes. How colonialism happened in Africa, how the white man came in, and yes, there was the preaching of the gospel and everything, love, and all that beautiful God who could do for us everything we wanted. And I do not want to inherently say that their coming was some plan out there and they knew come soften the blacks and then come and take everything that belongs to them. Not really. But I felt like the white people I've interfaced with from the time of missionaries to the time I have now seen and experienced things myself, didn't practice this Christianity they preached about. But look at them. They are more developed than we are, unlike how we are. And you find that a greatest percentage of us Africans find ourselves tied down in churches, believing that some supernatural being is going to come and make miracles out of the blue for us that we may not work for. But also, a little personal, I have a mother who is really prayerful. She's born again. I have seen my mother pray so much, and I've seen my mother go through phases of depression because she was praying to our God for certain things. And I've seen circumstances that my mother would have solved without religion, but she always found a way to link them back to religion, even when religion was not the answer. There are times I've seen her sit down, pay prayer warriors to come up and pray for us because apparently maybe we are having a curse or there is something wrong in the house. And I felt that was not right, that was not wrong. But when I come to the comparison of, okay, there is a white God and there is a black God, I felt, yes, there are certain things that happen in our lives that I cannot explain, that science has failed to explain. But I felt sick that it was being tied to a white God. Because before the white God comes in, there was a God, or gods, that black people believed in. They prayed for food, they got the food. They prayed for clothing, they got it. They prayed to win battle, they did it. And if you find the different reasons that the white God people use to belittle the black gods are things like, the black gods, you guys were so barbaric in your actions. But I read the Bible and I'm like, a man that could destroy people and kill them for people because he loved the people. Look at the Gomorrahites, the Sodomites, look at the different people, the Amorites. These people are being killed just because God believes the Israelites deserve to take up a certain land. And I felt there was no reasoning in his actions, and I felt both gods were barbaric anyway, so I don't think that could be a reason, a win-win for you. Also, when I looked at really they called our gods idols because, of course, we had our ways of worshipping, maybe pouring beer to the ground, maybe bowing before a certain tree because it was the oldest tree. And they were called idol worship. And at the same time, I was seeing my friends that were Catholics with rosaries in their necks, and I do not judge them per se. But what I'm trying to say is we find these things reflecting in all religions. So really, don't tell me my God is bad and yours is better than mine. Respect my God, and you can respect your God too if you want to. That was basically it.
There's a question here.
Okay. Mine is not related to the religion aspect, though I love how you're looking at it. Mine is more related to something that I see coming up from the different pieces in the book, from you as authors, which has to do with your background and cultures and what you've experienced so far. But my question is, do you see yourself as writers in the next 10, 20 years? And how do you see your writing shaping those communities or the cultures that you're writing of now, that you're seeing certain things that don't work, like the religion juxtaposed from her? So how do you see your writing changing those communities for the better? I don't know whether my question is clear.
Okay,
Thank you.
anyone who would love to answer that? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So starting with culture and background, I think personally everyone has a story. And before one becomes a writer or a poet, they have a story behind them. I started writing, I think, after senior 3, stupidly when a girl broke my heart. Funny though, but that is how it started, and it went on and on. At one point, I wrote a 96-page book full of poems, and then someone stole it. That is when I stopped writing. So I just picked up, because along the way I got into debates and all that. But something in 2020, during the lockdown, it was so much intriguing that I used to just write sample things and post on my status, and everyone was like, you need to write. And that is where I picked up from. Personally, I think reaching to this point of writing Dead Manners, I started writing on Twitter, something that people would call the Otunes. I branded it the Otunes myself. You can pick them on Twitter. And there was a very interesting story behind the Otunes. It was coming from a point of depression, a point of neglect, a point of you don't know what you have to do, a point where everyone is not looking at you, but they're turning their backs on you. And when I say that, I talk about family. At a point you reach home and everyone is like, you're the black sheep, and maybe you are or not. Who knows? Your story, their story. So I think poetry became a friend to me. Literally, I would embrace poetry. At a point that I don't want to talk to anyone, I just write and keep on writing. And I keep on writing. And every time I write it, I just throw it out there. And I think years from now, 20, 30, I'll still be writing. Because after Dead Manners, I was able to collect all my pieces from 2020. And I would say they are done, and I'm just waiting for it to be published. And I think that is something worth celebrating on my side. One thing I can tell everyone out there is that many people are just branding themselves as poets just because they have a unique style of writing. But I think when we take these words not as mere pieces, but words that we associate with, letter by letter, I think that will make sense at the end of the day. Because by the time you go to sleep without eating, but you have written a piece, and you are very much satisfied, I think that is happiness in itself. Coming back to Dead Manners, I felt that each word in this letter was an opportunity for everyone to know who they are. And even if it is my own philosophy, I think none of us can give what we do not have. So if you have a bottle that is full of water, I will not give it out to anyone who is thirsty because I also need it. I need to drink it. But if I have a bottle that is overflowing with water, then I can merely share from it. And I think that is very, very much important.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I think on your question of what we feel our writing is doing or contributing, I think you've seen where I told you my inspiration to question certain things came from. This is from class. These are from books I read and different literal works of other people. I think there is nothing as important as someone being able to sit down, read something, and reflect on it. Now, that's what poetry does. Sometimes you look at numbers. I once looked at numbers. I wanted to be the kind of poet who wrote and the whole world read about me. But I realized it's not about actually how many people read what you write. But if what you write is able to impact on the life of someone, relatability. If I can relate to something, if what I write about can send loopholes and questions in certain policies government is trying to pass in line with gender equality, like men have been neglected because they are focusing on women, something of the sort. Not everyone may read that, but 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 people could read them, and maybe someone with the power to change such a policy could actually do it at the end of the day. So we do our small works in our different categories and different abilities. That's what I see my poetry will do. In the next future, I really can't tell because I've not yet become so serious about what I write. But whenever I get the opportunity to write, I write.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're taking one more question, which should be short and directly to who? Then that person, I would pray that you also try to answer back the question in a short time because our chief guest is a time person and we are running short of time. So,
thank you so much. My question is actually to two people straight, the man in black and then the lady here. I liked the gentleman from Kenya. His poem had a vision or a purpose as to why it was written. And he told us the story. So the other two people, what is your purpose for writing as a poet? And how do you see your poems? Like he said, the question is being skipped somehow. How do you see your poems impacting the lives of people? Yeah, thank you.
The story behind my poem is that I grew up seeing a lot of messes when it comes to how people take in the issue of gender equality and the misconceptions that are always there. And probably in one way or the other, I've had a first-hand experience on the impact of one person thinking they're better than the other and the other person also thinking they are better than the same person. So the reason as to why I wrote this poem is I was only wishing if there was someone, or if there was someone who could actually see that the problem is not because, you know, the other person is a man or the other person is a woman, but the problem is how we actually see things in the society. And as well as, for example, in my culture, we have really harsh cultural practices that, you know, are taught to girls when they're still young. They're taught to boys when they're still young. When you grow up now as a girl, this is how you're supposed to look at the man. Then as a man, this is how you're supposed to look at yourself. And in one way or the other, I've always found it problematic in that these boys, mostly boys in my culture, the Lao community, these boys grew up with a mindset that, you know, a woman's role is only in the kitchen. Then the woman who was, once they step a foot in school, they'll think now because probably they have ended in primary, they can as well step on the man. And when you try to, I totally agree with what my Bible tells me about women being submissive to their husbands. I think our problem comes in when we don't understand what submission is. And as well, a man is said to, the same Bible that talks about submission says that a man should love their wives. Now, I think the problem does not come in because I am a girl or the other person is a man. The problem comes in because we have not actually understood those two words. We have not understood what love is, and then we have not understood what submission is. And now it becomes a problem with my gender because people mostly think that, when you're submissive, you're of low class, the other guy is going to step on you and all that. Yet that is not the case. If only we could understand, these two things, we would actually not be fighting for gender equality because, this earth would actually be a place that is habitable. And then how do I see my poetry in probably the next 10 or 20 years? Recently I shared with a friend of mine that normally I write because I have gone through a certain experience. Growing up, my dad has always told me that, even with the wind blowing, the way you're walking or the way the other person is walking, learn something. And when I was younger, I would be like, okay, what am I supposed to learn from someone walking? But with time, when I grew up, I realized that actually there's times someone may be walking, without minding about what is before them or without minding about the other person. Now, this is not in walking. I'm just bringing that as to paint a picture. But in one way or the other, when I get time or when I sit down to write, I'm writing because I've learned something. Probably in my life, something has gone bad, but I've learned something. I write that down, either in a poem or an article. And then if I've learned something from the way someone is talking or the way someone has been, handling an issue, without maybe common sense, without thinking, while trying to be so emotional, and I draw a lesson from it, I'll still write it down. So I believe that the lessons that I have learned in one way or the other would be helpful to this person that would come across my writing. Because at that moment, they may be facing the same challenge I was facing or the same challenge the other person was facing. They can relate to this experience I had and pair it up with the experience they are having, and probably they will not have to go through the worst case scenario of probably breaking down, just as I might have done. I think that's that for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for asking that question. Once again, I have to remind myself to others, that's my name. It's called Asiko Francis. I'm so glad to get that question from you. Actually, I was waiting search. I would like to first delve into this of you saying why actually I've started writing this. One thing, as I said earlier on, my poem is called, the title is Shadow of Poverty. I took that theme. One, I'm from a humble background. I have to accept that. And every day, people actually write things that they walk over, they move over it each and every time. When you realize that when someone writes about identity, he or she has already identified something. When someone writes about poverty, has already discovered something. Earlier on, I said when I was talking about the poem, I said I'd wandered around the areas of Karamoja and I'd seen how they've been there, some of the people. And I've seen how people in northern Uganda, and I've seen how also my own family, where I come from, actually affected me and drove me to writing this. And some of my poems called Anxiety, Anxiety and the Lubara Girl, that featured in the Kenyan street anthology, and an anthology for African Spirit. It featured because I also discovered when one person abused a lady around me that you are too black for me to accept you as my girlfriend. Immediately I had to go somewhere and I wrote a poem, and this girl was from my place. She's also a Lubara, but me, I'm also a Lubara, yes, but maybe I may also look black, someone may see so. So that thing drove me also to write such a poem. And today, this one for Dead Manners, I wrote The Shadow of Poverty because I had encountered someone like that. So how will my poetry look in the few years of coming is something I would also love to share. When you're writing about your footsteps and what you have moved over, you'll get to realize that you write with passion. You'll not just write because you put it, you script it on the paper and you throw it somewhere, but you want to write to change someone's perception about the way they believe how others also are. So my poetry is always that kind of poetry that I want to impact into someone's life, and some other people from outside should see that these are also human beings like us. That if we read this poem and analyze it, we will get to know that there are people from outside who also need our help like we do. And each time in the next few years, I really believe my poetry will grow because of the way I write. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope you've learned something, because for me, where I come from, it's a different setting. We have a different culture. You find that we are told a lot of things. Actually, in my culture, before you know you get married to someone you don't know, it's not that you've decided, but it's within the culture. And then even if you want, maybe the father may decide and be like, you have to give 30 cows. So you find that different cultures have different ways. But then she said something that I liked. I am a Christian and I respect God. But then at some extent you find that we have been deceived by different things. In that today, our parents, our siblings, and our communities have abandoned the African setting, and we also went with our Western culture. When you read our book, you find that it will speak about us, what we do. You find that ladies walk naked. Feel free. But in African setting, it was a taboo. So you find that the manners of African setting, or the Africans, since we are trying to copy the Western culture, we are dying every day. So the young ladies and the young gentlemen who are here, always remember what your grandfathers told you, the stories they used to say, because they had meaning, and I believe they had a very big impact upon your life. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Elizabeth. Wow, that was really moving. I thought you were going to say that our book over is what? What? Now, thank you very much. A round of applause to our poets. And a round of applause to the people who gave us those really intense questions. Okay, that was something very good. So at this moment, we're going to have a poetry performance before our chief guest comes in and blows us away. So thank you very much. Please, our poets, you can choose to
have a seat.
Give us that platform. Thank you very much, as our poet prepares to come to stage. Thank you.
As they're giving us a performance, don't forget we have shirts. We have shirts in the building. We have books. I believe we are going to work on our African settings through reading.
Here is a man who bleeds nothing but love. He has been thumping on some woman for so long, beseeching for love has been his hymn. He has been echoed, trashed and shamefaced, but he can't give her life green lights. A shadow wherever he goes. He acts right, only to say everything is all right, yet deep inside his heart is swollen. Here is a desperate woman. She has perfected every charm to entrap the man she erodes, applied black magic, tried the streets and the altars, but all is the same. To any other man, she's a piece of a cake, but to him, she's bread. My name is Odhiambo Calvin, aka Slam Poet, the author of Grief Knows Me. I'm going to perform a poem. It's on page 55 under the theme of justice. It's titled Rejected by the Law. If you have the book, you can simply flap the pages and then you can be on the same page with me. Allow me to read it. Lucy was afraid until she unmasked the hungry friend in her. This wasn't right, but all seemed perfect to her. At the old, isolated, fashioned home, she called me to come over and help with chores. Only left all stones unturned. Behind the curtains, I was the Last Supper. It was a sweet murder. Her ego close caressing the tip of my circumcised manhood as she moved her tongue up my ears. Her breath occupying my nostrils, her slender slashed triangle, thirst for my piped irrigation. Is this my pay? I asked. My lips were silenced by her kiss. In a blink of an eye, the door was bolted, the windows curtained, boiled as her girls came in. I thought this was the end, but the hungry friend had not eaten enough of me. It was a massacre. My mouth was masked. I opted to run, but in a trap. Consent was at their will. In Adam's suit, I was dressed as if in the Garden of Eden. They shared my dick as kachumbali. I was Robert to them as ready. The pain cut me deeper than a masawa knife. As she moved her tongue in my ears, birds ran all over my naive Adam. I pleaded to be freed, but all in vain. Keep it a secret. None will believe in you. Boys aren't raped. Dare mention anything that has happened. I will say you raped me. She murmured. I no longer stood strong. How could I stand keeping a secret of foe? Would I be man enough to narrate how I was raped? How would I explain the erection and insertion if I never wanted? Should I smile with this HIV implanted in me? Should I be a proud father of twins at 17? I spoke, but none listened. I saw, but none believed. I perplexed, but none felt. I rejected, but even my own penis betrayed me upon tasting the forbidden fruit. Music is meaningless when the audience is deaf. Men can't be raped, says who? Where was the law that protected the raped victims when I needed it most? Justice delayed is justice denied. They were unchained. They were freed in merriment. The law protected them. She was a friend indeed. She blessed me with twins. She created awareness for my manhood. Her friends blessed me too. I am a father in my father's house. I am a proud victim of rape, abandoned by the law.
Wow. Thank you very much. Guys, let's clap for him. Thank you very much. I guess everyone liked it, right? Are we still in the building? You're so cold, and yet it's not raining. Thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to welcome my mentor, the Lord Mayor, CEO High People, Dr. Innocent Kaweya. I call him doctor because when you're receiving something in terms of skills and in terms of knowledge, it means you're acquiring medicine, right? I welcome you, sir.
Okay. Greetings, everyone. I hope you're well. I'll start by requesting all of us to come and sit here in the middle. Like whoever is here, to come and occupy the front seats. I think we've played enough. Let's cover all the seats
Guys at
here.
the back.
Yeah. As in all of us, let's use only the middle. I know I'm speaking last on behalf of a number of people. Let's all come in front. There are seats here. The people on the third row or the fourth row, there are seats here, right? Please come and occupy the seats. Yeah, please come and occupy the seats. Well, please come and occupy these seats this side. Ladies, please come and sit this side. Well, greetings once again. My name is Innocent Kawoya. I'm sorry I start on a note that no one expects me to start if I go anywhere. But the people at the row behind, please come and occupy the empty seats here. When you want to ever make change be anywhere you want to go in your life, it has to start with yourself, right? You are communicators. Many of you are poets, and so you're writers. And I'm sure you've seen a tremendous growth in the number of participants in the media, the fraternity of Uganda. And I'm sure many of them have seen about and heard about this event, and they are not here today. But many of them write every single time. So should we call them writers tomorrow? They don't want to write. They don't want to write about reading and writing. But can you ever read anything that is not written? Does that exist? So where we are in this kind of space that created some bit of democracy for all of us that didn't go formally to school to learn writing. But I remember 18 years ago, I personally started my journey of having freedom to write and make so many mistakes as much as I wished and learn from the same. When I joined High People in 2000, I was in my high school, I was in senior 4, I was with my sister here, Doreen. They were younger than us, but we were in school and trying to find our way to the world. But since when I was 9 years, there's one thing I knew was supposed to happen with myself and the people around me. Either if I'm around people, I'm supposed to be a leader, or I'm supposed to train leaders around me. And the leaders are supposed to make change be. Yeah? There is no purpose in us coming here. Yes, we have a hall that is supposed to cover 100 people, and the first thing we do is we spread and sit wherever we want. Yet we came for a common event. Yeah? Tomorrow we will be having the same event, day 2. I will ask the organizers, starting with my good friend, Madam CEO, Agatha, and the rest to make sure every one of us that is here tomorrow comes with 5 people. As in everyone comes with 5 friends and make sure they attend, because I'm sure we have friends. So if you have useless friends who only want to see you sharing memes on Facebook and you're writing here, you have a problem, because you're not even leading your own to reading. Yet, in the end, the intention of writing and having people read what we have is to transform society. Yes, we'll say it's a beautiful thing. Someone will ask us at High People, why did we even come up to support this kind of initiative? But all our life, all our years, for the 18 years I've been working at High People, one of the things we're advocating for is literacy. And using digital rails, saying, there is internet, there is freedom. You can create a blog using the university computer, because we started from here. By 2008, I was teaching in this university. Don't ask me how qualified I was, but I was. Yeah, and I was teaching people that still remember me and still celebrate me whenever they see me. But we had to change a lot of how we did a lot of things around our lives. And we had to start with ourselves. And majority of you are all younger than us. So the first thing we will say is we regard all of you as our young brothers and sisters. But you're going to the world. Many of you are teachers. You saw what happened when COVID came. And you saw teachers sitting home for almost a whole 2 years doing nothing. But not because education is useless. And not because teachers are useless. I was born to 2 teachers. Personally, my father was a head teacher for 27 years. And my mother was a deputy for about 17 years. And the only thing I remember seeing both of them do is serve. But in the way of serving the world, they served us as well and enabled us to become the people we are today. And we are always proud of having them and thankful to God that they still live and can still tell us a thing or two about life. But then we need leadership, because that is in absence, and we all know that it is in absence. And it is supposed to start from you who are here. So at whatever age you are, you have a chance to have a page in a book that has been published, and we are going to buy that book, right? So we are going to buy it, and we're going to buy it, and what you write is not what you are. Right? And you think we are going to believe you after knowing that actually what you are is not what you write is not who you are? You think we're going to believe you? No, not all of us are that kind of jokers. No, we're not going to judge you either. But we're not going to believe you, because you have a choice. You have a choice to make as a human being. Sorry, I was supposed to give a keynote, and this is one of a kind. I give such sometimes, and I care, by the way. That's why I will say this, because even when I'm in politics, I would not care if someone thinks they shouldn't vote us if we think we are saying the truth. Right? I wouldn't care. As long as they have heard, maybe some will transform. But this is a beautiful gathering. So imagine the same way we drive our friends and tell them to go to church and share posters of church, Sunday service and all that. Imagine if we got the same kind of people and brought them here today. Wouldn't it be a different event? So who of us here led who? We live in a world where we have a lot of work to do and a lot of challenges. There is no one that has been on the panel. There is no the person who has presented the poem here lastly. There's no one who has had a poem about the good things happening. And that means there's a lot of challenges that are happening in the world. Right? Okay, if your problem is faith and religion, right? So how many did you bring here to let them understand your thoughts? Madam, how many did you bring? Yeah? So someone wrote about a child he found hungry and he thought they needed to have food. Yeah? So how many of you have said that I should keep 1,000 shillings every single day and randomly find someone to buy a kilo or two of posho once in a while? How many have done that? Yes, if you are a teacher and pursuing to be one, chances are that you are going to get a school to teach in, because we need teachers. But how sure are you that we are going to trust you with our children? As in, how sure are you, teachers? How many of you here are doing education? Please, by show of hands. Yeah. Do not feel ashamed. Be proud. I told you I was raised by a teacher. So I am a believer in education, but to a very great extent. But I want to ask all of you, how sure are you that we are going to believe in you? How sure are you that we're not going to have our children and put them in our own homes and teach them and get them to sit for exams when they have to? If you're not leading by example, if you're not showing us the difference that we expect of you, how sure are you? And then how sure are you that we are going to give you a child when you can't read? Like, seriously. How sure are you? Yeah? So we are living in that kind of world. Well, on the other side of my life and my team, my good friend, I call her Honorable because she's a councillor from my home district, Elizabeth Ngabire. I hope you know that she's a councillor, right? Yeah? Your co-host here today. I keep telling her, we always have chats on WhatsApp, and I keep telling her, find something for your life, read. We believe in you. I told her she should be our woman MP for Masaka in 2026, and we want to support her. Yeah? But we want to support someone who we are sure is going to represent us the right way. We want to support someone who we are sure is going to educate us and help us become better citizens of this country. So I didn't come here to teach you, because you might know so much more than I know in my life. But we learn from all of us. You say something, we hear you say, we say something, you learn, right? But we are in a world where we have to do about 3 things every day of our lives. We have to learn, we have to relearn, we have to unlearn some things. Why? Some of the practices that we thought were useful are not anymore. So what do? We keep with them and you remain irrelevant? So, which one of you here has come out and said, based on my knowledge and my experience or whatever I know, let me set out to do a community initiative that makes sure I take my service out? Who of you here has said that I am going to photocopy my poem, just 1 page, and make sure I pin it on every notes board in the university so that people can read it? Of course, referencing the book. Who has done that? Yes, you've done that? Oh, you deserve a hand clap. Did you get a t-shirt? Did you get yourself a t-shirt? How much is a t-shirt? Yeah, I'm buying you this one. Please receive it. Please, yeah. Okay, that is one thought. But how many of you have taken the initiative to say, I have 100 contacts, and all of them, I should call them just to come and attend this event? Wouldn't it be so beautiful that you are here seated on a panel, and there are 20 people who know you and they are seeing you representing in greatness? Wouldn't you feel happier about yourself? Of course, Agatha and the team have done so well. I always call her Madam CEO, like I call almost every other woman leader in our space. She's done so well. First of all, they are very bold. The first time I met them with Elizabeth, and, well, they were ready to say everything they wanted. So we had this conversation. I'm this person who can say so much when I want to, and one who can say nothing when I don't want to say anything. So you can find me the two people, and you will not be sure who you met the other time. Yeah? And it is very deliberate. Why? I want to listen and learn. And, well, none of us here from High People is the Queen of England. None of us is the Pope. None of us is President Museveni. So you can do without us here, any day, any time. Yeah? You can do without all of us. But this that is being done here is greatness. It's an initiative that should help all of us reflect on the realities of what our life should be and what our input should be in society. If you haven't graduated, you're going to, and you're going to begin moving with CVs looking for jobs. Yeah? It's a job. That if one of you say that, okay, for the next 1 year, every single day I'm going to spend an hour writing about something, how many stories will you have written in a year? Right? 365. Okay. One time when we have a chance, maybe with all of you, maybe next year, because we're going to come back and support this event. Yeah. For whatever we've been able to do this time, we are going to double whatever we've been able to do. So we are going to come back. So when we come back, I'm a tech person, right? And we will show you what we have written in the last 18 years. Maybe challenge you a little bit so you will see what, I mean, our goal was not to write. Our goal was to sensitize people, to disseminate information, yeah? And we will show you what we have written. In our busy schedules, we've written hundreds of publications. I remember in 2008, when we were learning what they call search engine optimization. Sorry, I'm going to go to the tech world a little bit. We were told that one of the easiest ways of achieving what they call page rank, a higher page rank, you achieve it through writing a lot of useful content with the right keywords, such that when search engines like Google want to access you, they base on the relevance of your content to rank your content and eventually your URL, or what they call your website or your domain. So we were selling, we had side hustles, like an e-commerce platform. We were selling cameras, digital cameras, and flowers. And we were supposed to write about 6 pieces, different every single day. You write about cameras, you write about flowers, and all that kind of stuff. And you can imagine for a period of 4 years, if I'm doing 6 for each of the portfolios, how many you would have had. But we even left them somewhere. Of course, when you search on the internet, they are there. Well, we left that content somewhere because we grew into something else. But today, we are proud that the writing we did transformed not just us, it transformed the nation. Yeah? The writing we did created jobs for people who are like us, guys who are doing IT like us, guys who are doing computer science like us, got jobs as digital managers, as social media managers, as other portfolios and all that in companies, starting with the top 1,000 taxpayers in the country. And why did they get there? Because the first tool that we always used was writing. So, as we celebrate readership here today, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers, Readers Africa, for putting up this event. Yeah, I told Agatha and Elizabeth that the only reason why we are going to support this event is not because it is the most unique event, but because among all the things we've seen through the last year, it is one of the most useful events that we need to have. Yeah. And that is why, even if there were only 2 of you here, we would come still. Yeah. That is why, even if all of you don't come tomorrow, we are going to come. Yeah. So, yeah, the rest is really your business. Really, if you don't want to come tomorrow, we shall have a more positive speech that has some other vibe. Today we want to speak to realities. The good thing is that almost everyone here who is here is part of the team that made this happen. Yeah? So I want all of us to reflect on ourselves and the things we want to do. If we want to make change be, if we want to make a difference in our society, in our country, in our world, we must do those little things like writing, but do them repeatedly and passionately. Why? Not everyone is so much interested in either writing or reading. Not everyone that is at university came to learn. Yeah? So if you think all your colleagues are in class because they came to learn, you have a problem. Someone was told to come to university because their parents can afford to pay school fees. And because when he takes home a transcript with the right grades, they are going to tell him you did well. That is why they came. So unless if is there someone here who came for that purpose so I can buy you a t-shirt? Yeah, if you came for that purpose, you clap for yourself because you're not going to think that way the same way again. Otherwise, thank you for making time. We're glad, we're thankful to God that we are here today. It's a beautiful thing to be around young minds that are thinking differently. If they told you that there is a fashion show and ladies and gentlemen are going to be naked in the university hall, we would be full to capacity right now. Yeah? We would be full. No one, we don't need to make adverts. And sensible things are not for everyone until when we make, it's our effort to make sure every one of them, those people gets to on board on the rails. But before I conclude, still just like writing, if we do not get proactive on changing society, I'm sure you've seen those funny videos of bad acts, mothers beating children and all that. I'm sure you've seen them. And just the other day, our community manager, he's called Nick Nturume, was asking me, I usually ask, so he was asking, okay, this woman was beating a child that is 2 years. Yeah? And someone was holding a phone and recording for 2 minutes. Who should be beaten first? Yes? So if you asked me that if we were to beat someone among the three, yeah, I would start with the person who was recording. Because that person who was recording is all of us here who want to come in here and sit at the sides. Because you want to sit like Arsenal watching Man U fighting with Liverpool, right? Yeah, you've seen that video circulating on social media. Sit at the sides and then watch Man U and Arsenal fighting. Then another day, be the Liverpool, sit, maybe have something to sip on, and then watch that team lose, right? So, if we do not deliberately get ourselves together and put some effort to making sure we act on the challenges that we write about, because the least I can say is that whoever came up with the idea, whoever led in the initiative of putting up dead manners needs to have this shirt today. Who was that? Yeah? Yeah, Agatha, please, I'm buying this one for you. Madam CEO. Yeah, as in, she deserves to have this. Why? Because she offered leadership that all of us need. But are we going to live in a society where we see mothers beating their own children, and then because we have smartphones, we record them and share them on social media? Is that where we're going to live? Would she die, or whoever it was, he or she, would they die walking to that person and picking up that child? Would they? Would any of you die doing that? So, thank you so much for listening to me. Sorry I had to go for that tone. It is our role. In African setting, as long as I'm your elder, naturally I'm supposed to be your leader. Right? Yeah, so please take it. Meanwhile, I wouldn't care if someone is angry about it. I wouldn't care so much. Why? Because I am not one who believes I should be liked by everyone. But I'm also one who believes that when we have a chance to support a community, an individual, we should do it as much as we can. Yeah? The importance of that 1,000 shillings you think is useless. If all of us here today decided to create a circle today, and we say every week each one of us is going to save just 1,000 shillings, and we'll use it to randomly pay for one student who will have issues with their tuition, after 10 years, you'll be surprised how many people will have paid for. Thank you for listening to me. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Before you leave, Mr. Innocent, I've actually learned something. Adding value to our community. I'm so passionate at value. He was talking about what have you added to your community. I can give an example. For me, when I was a vice president at my university, during lockdown, I was able to I collected a number of girls in my hostel, because I was in a girls' hostel. So we went and visited these kids. They are autistic, and they are very disabled. They can literally do nothing to themselves. And we gave them food. We bought eggs for them. I mean, you may do it for pictures, prestige, and all other things, but it does not make sense if you take it that way. So you should always have value for your community and add something to your neighbor, to your friend, to your brother, to anyone, regardless of who they are. Thank you. So right now, we are going to, Mr. Innocent is going to launch our book, and I will welcome the CEO for Readers Africa. And then after, we'll have a group photo. Or someone has a question.
Thank you for the talk, Mr. Innocent. I have like an inquiry question. You know, several times you're going to start something, yeah? You have an idea, but then you don't have the funds. You have the friends, but you don't have the support. So how do you push through such a situation? I know you have everything, you're figuring everything out in your mind, but then you have like several hindrances like on the way. So I'm only inquiring, how do you move from one step to the other without the support, without the income, without any pretenders around you? Thank you.
I didn't get your name.
Pinky.
The other?
Kwetiga.
Kwetiga? Sorry.
There is a T in my name.
Yeah,
Kwetiga.
Yeah, that was a joke, yeah? But you can, thank you, Pinky. Well, I'll tell all of us here today, starting with yourself, that most times one thing that happens when we want to succeed, actually the most unique factor among all people who make it is only discipline. And discipline doesn't mean you go greeting everyone on the village. No. They don't pay your bills. So I don't mean that. I don't mean discipline is in saying do the minimum basics that make you move a step every day of your lives. So like you see, Pinky, you failed to move to this place in the middle. Yeah? Yeah, you fail to move here, whatever it may be. So when you fail, you are indisciplined. So life becomes harder when we are not disciplined. Why? Because The people who have made it only chose to wake up, not because they figured out everything they were going to do, but because they were disciplined to the cause. Because they were saying, whatever it may be, whether I'm failing today, I am going to wake up and go do it again, right? So, in the end, that repeated behavior, good behavior for that matter, which we eventually call discipline, becomes a very definitive factor for becoming who we are. No one, as in I don't know any single person who has made it by themselves, by just being very rowdy, by being playful. Of course, it doesn't mean you shouldn't have fun. Yeah? But the other day I had a radio show. I usually have a Monday show every Monday. And I was helping someone understand what they mean by being punctual or being on time or in time. And people think that to be in time is waking up at 5 in the morning. No. Someone works up to 5 in the morning. Do you expect them to wake up at 5? But if you are told that you should be in this place at 2 p.m., the discipline of ensuring that you are here 5 minutes and being consistent about that would mean that it will eventually pay off for you. Why? Because you mind that little detail of making sure you are early enough, and that is what matters. So, in the end, Pinky, one of my daughters is called Pinky, so you are my daughter officially, yeah? So, in the end, yeah, whatever it may be, whatever you may ever want to do in your life, as long as the element of discipline is not a part of it, no matter how passionate you are, no matter how skilled, no matter how many PhDs you have, you'll fail. As in, you'll fail with the PhDs because you thought you know everything, so you don't have to wake up and work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Innocent. I believe all of you are rich. You've just never discovered what you are. There's a lot of potential in you. That's what I believe.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. My name is Seremba Giovanni, and I'm a recent graduate from Makerere University this year. I did social science, Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences. But during my campus time, at least I got a chance of getting involved in one of High People events, but on the other side of art, music, outside in the awards. But that attracted me more to the music part of or the music sector. And during that process, I really tried to do writing in the music and all that. And due to the passion, it drove me to getting dreads. But as an intellectual and the people around me, I ended up losing some of my contacts due to the stigma and the stereotype that is all around that. But that gave me something, and I have plans. And because of that, I really want to become an activist in that matter, because I came to find out that we are living in a society. So there is a lot this is a call to you, my dear writers here. There is a lot we have to do. We have to do a lot of, let me call it brainwashing or reverse brainwashing. Because whatever you do is for future generations, and they won't appreciate right now, but they will appreciate later. So we endure. We have to endure this stigma that comes along with it. Different people will judge you. Different people will misplace you in different philosophies, but we know our philosophy here. So my question was, what advice would you give to a young man who's struggling to really prove that what the prove that there's sense in whatever they are doing, this intellectual world. And this young man is also trying to prove to the elders, these people who are, some of them are mentors to us, some of them are our sponsors, and some of them want us in different sectors, yet the sector we want is here. So what advice would you give to such a young man or woman?
You're Selemba, right? Okay. Doreen should give you a ticket to the next music awards, 18th November. Doreen is right there, so make sure you get her contact. She should give you a ticket so you come and attend the event on the 18th of November. And 4 other people who raise up their hands first. Yeah. Have you seen the 4, Doreen? It is Madam CEO, it is your neighbor, and the 2. So you'll all have, I think you've seen them, Doreen. You'll have access to the event, courtesy of high people. Now let me tell you, let me say this, let me relate it to an example of myself. Of course, personally, I don't well relate with the dreads. I've never wanted to have them on my head. I am a footballer who wanted to play football and one time score goals for the Cranes, whatever, yeah? So, but then I find myself in music when I was about 9 years, as in actively in music with the Pearl of Africa choir. And then we come to Makerere. I am teaching and I'm supposed to look like a lecturer. But every single evening we have to upload music videos on highpeople.com. As in, we have to upload the musicians or creatives every single day. And our supervisor, who liked us so much because she believed in our capacity for the work we're delivering, kept on reminding us about the fact that we are very lucky to have a chance to teach in the greatest university in East Africa at our age. I was with my friend George. So she told us and always reminded us that we should not be wasting our time on music, right? We shouldn't be wasting our time with the one they called Bayai. Yeah. So, well, we didn't listen to her. I don't know whether that is called indiscipline, but, and I was talking about discipline. I don't know what it is called. Any of you can make their judgment. It is okay. But I can tell you that for me it was discipline because we had passion for what we wanted and we wanted to serve. So I remembered all the time. I remember the time I met my friend Bobby Wine in 2000. I remember I met him putting on a vest. He performed at our school at Molly and Paul, so we became friends that day. Because I'm the one who invited him anyway. So don't ask me how old I was. It doesn't matter. I was in charge. So I remember he was putting on vests with the dreads. And everyone thought that they were Bayai for some reason, right? Today, apart from the fact that someone lied to him and he had to cut off his dreads, yeah? But the dreads made him the leader of opposition. Is that too bad to become? Do you have his contacts? Like, can you call him? Can you call him? Can you call like Bobby Wine and talk to him? Do you have a friend who can talk to him? Exactly. So he's that deep us. And feels like he has actually made it. But he came from the dreads. And I'm sure many people told him he was a Miyai. And people told us we were Bayai because we were uploading music all the time. So one time I have a friend who had dreads all the time. I walked to one of my most favorite aunties. She passed away last year. She was working here as well. So we walked to her and my friend is having these long dreads. Sorry, they don't talk about the dead, but she's my auntie and she would be okay me saying this. So this is the guy. And then she asked me, is he a woman? You get? Like, okay, I'm like, no, but he is a man. the stigma still exists. That's what I'm saying. But if you feel like the dreads give you an identity, where are your dreads? If they give you identity. If any of us pay your bills, then let us tell you that we should not have them. Yeah? If we do. I mean, if I pay your bills and I have the right. But you know what is even most funny? You have a national ID and it has your name, your picture, your everything. Yeah, well, today if you make it, we shall be your friends. But you know what is most funny? If you fail with that hair, we don't want to see you around us. If no one has told you that truth, all of those people here you see, we don't want to see you when you have failed. Why? Because you will be useless, and that's the truth. No one wants to tell us. So if the dreads complete you a certain way, before you even say, I am going to become an advocate, no, where are the dreads? Feel at home, or feel at dreads with them. Yeah? So that you, if it can become your identity, all that stigma lasts for not more than 2 years meanwhile. We will see you the first year, we will say what happened to him. After 2 years, we can't say it anymore. It is you for that reason. Yeah. So, sorry, I had to make the answer longer. Why? Because we went through the same thing. Music was useless when we went in the industry to support it. High people came in to use digitalization to transform the industry. But because they thought the only people they see taking drugs in public are the only ones who use them, they thought they are the only ones who are useless in society. But see how many of them have transformed. See how football has become a phenomenon of the world, as in everywhere we go, we fight over who is winning between Arsenal and Man U, right? So please follow that something you feel like. There's nothing that is as beautiful as you waking up every day in your life and feeling happy about who you are. Yeah? There's nothing like that, because we are not going to feel happy about you, who you are. We don't know what you're feeling. We don't. And we care less. That is why you'll find it is even very hard for people to ask you, how are you, when they mean to ask, how are you? Yeah? It's a formality for most in society. How are you? It is for saying I'm fine, right? So if people say they're not fine, someone wants to block you.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to welcome our CEO, Madam Agatha. As she comes, don't forget to join us. Hi People is on LinkedIn, it's on Twitter, on Facebook, all media platforms. So join in, like, and share also. Because, like he said, he has passion for music. You never know what you have. So, right now, Mr. Innocent is going to launch our book. Ten copies.
We are launching a book that has been spearheaded by a great woman, right? Yeah. So, my team will buy themselves books, so I'm not buying for my team. We have a number of us here today. We have our apostle here, Arthur. I told you about my sister. We have me at the other side. My friend Afande Emilian Kaima writes a book every year. So I told him, every year when you write a book, I should buy at least 50 copies and give them out to people. So just once again, who said they know someone who wants to read before we launch? Yeah, no, the ones who, let us be honest. Let us be honest for once. The ones who raised up their hands first, I remember them. So please, one by one, please walk here, take your book before we launch. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing that people have taken time to write. One by one, please.
Your arms shall be safe and your sound will come back around. For now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved, but now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. I let my guard down, then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda goes my heart beating, 'cause you are the reason I'm losing my sleep. Please come back now. There goes my mind racing, and you are the reason that I'm still breathing. I'm hopeless now. I'd climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what I've broken.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kawoya, for launching our Dead Manners. Are you guys excited, man? Make for me some noise. Woo, 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 woo. I'm so excited that at least for once, my dad is going to feel proud. You know, I normally do some things for my dad to feel proud, but that guy is hard to convince. So when I send him a video of myself launching a book, be like, yeah, man, this is it. So at this point, we have a performance from someone who is going to strum a guitar. Yeah, live. So, okay, I've been advised. The poets, please, do faster. Mr. Kawoya is a man of time. So, a photo opportunity with Mr. Kawoya, the CEO of High People. Please, let's move and go and take that opportunity with him. Thank you very much. And also, I want to thank everyone who has been able to make it here. Tomorrow is our final day, and of course, you know, the final day is always the best. So I would wish you to make that noise on social media. Tell your friends we should be here tomorrow. We're starting at 8 to 5 p.m. We're going to have a discussion with the writers. We're going to have a discussion with the readers. And I would pray that you don't miss this. Okay? Okay, so after that, we're going to have from Readers Africa. You're also going to go and have the photo opportunity. So if you know you're a member of the Readers Africa, please, I would love to see you going to join up there as well when the rest are done. Yeah, after them.
The organizing committee too. The organizing committee for Readers Africa is also going to have a photo.
Yes. Then also we shall have our visitors from the United States of Arua. Yeah, United States of Africa. If you came from Zimbabwe, Uganda, came from Kenya, there's also an opportunity for you, yes?
I also came from Uganda.
Everyone, please come, please come, please come. Hey, this is a very good opportunity. Everyone,
guys, please,
let's
come, let's come, let's tomorrow come. 5 people.
Everyone should come with 5 people. I have noted all your names. If you
The organizing committee, please. The organizing committee. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Guys, tomorrow bring 5 people. I am going to share my life story of how I started like you, even worse than you, just in senior 4, and I became the first youngest youth counselor in senior 4. So tomorrow bring 5 people and we go along and we share the story, how I reached on LC5, how I am today. Guys, make sure you bring 5 people. I guess everyone will be inspired, right? How many I'm bringing for us 5 people? I want to thank the parents, the teachers, the visitors, our sponsors again, we thank you. I want to thank everyone who attended today. I know you had a lot to do, but you spared your time and you wished to spend it with us.
High People remains one of Uganda's and indeed Africa's most dynamic brands and organizations. The innovations and initiatives are increasingly renowned for their positive impact towards transforming lives and livelihoods around the continent. Our annual High People Music Awards are recognized not just for their critical acclaim and prestige that they bestow on their winners and nominees, but as one of the longest serving awards and celebration. We are proud to grow from strength to strength, celebrating and transforming brand to brand, name to name. A number of artists have grown to influence millions of Ugandans and Africans as a whole. Remarkably, the story we started as a digital online store to distribute and share content that was locally brewed and created by our indigenous Africans has turned out into a livelihood of every creator of content, be it music, film, drama, TV, name it. The 11th edition comes with thankfulness. It's been quite a journey. We thank our long-standing partners that have kept believing in transforming the music industry and the creative arts industry using digitization. We also thank God, our longest-serving sponsor, for making this happen every single year. I'm proud and excited to let you know that the nominations for the 11th High People Music Awards are now open for every one of us to suggest and bring forward the most outstanding acts and artists that made our year.